Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and Citizens Academy, and residents of Sanford, and Russ in the back, and our commissioner, well, at least one of our commissioners who is here. Patrick, thank you for coming very, very much. My name is Rich Heisenbottle, and this is my partner, Vinnie Torrey, and together we represent Sanford Waterfront Partners. You've seen our faces around town. Some of you, I recognize your faces for having participated in the beginning of this exciting project for the Catalyst site, and that was at the charrette that we held, I don't know, now it's at least about 6 months back. Since that time, we've been doing an awful lot of work, developing, along with Dover Cole and partners, our master planners, a master plan for the entire 3-city block area. And we're proud to, I think for the first time, really show it to the general public tonight. And we're going to do that in a bit of a short order format by showing you this video walkthrough that is narrated by Dover Cole. And without further ado, after that, we'll take any questions that you have. Now, at the moment, this is not quite final. We're still anticipating that the City Commission and the city will finish negotiating the development order with us, and that the development order will be ready for approval before year's end. So with that, if the folks in the booth back there would go ahead and run our video, sit back and enjoy.
Hello, and welcome to a look at Heritage Park, a joint public-private partnership between the City of Sanford, Florida, and the Sanford Waterfront Partners. This is for a new master plan for the development of 3 city blocks in the heart of a historic downtown that overlooks Lake Monroe. I'm Victor Dover, an urban designer and town planner, and I'm part of a big creative team working for the Sanford Waterfront Partners on the design of Heritage Park. So let's take a look at it. This is a very special infill development. The idea is to construct new mixed-use buildings that reflect the heritage of the town while still providing for all the modern expectations of a great downtown living experience. Heritage Park is intended to revitalize downtown Sanford further and strengthen its connection to the waterfront. So along the waterfront, on Seminole Boulevard, the developers will establish a mix of waterfront living, shopping, dining, and entertainment with wide tree-lined streets, nice sidewalks, and interconnected outdoor plazas and paseos. This approach to the design, one that was common to the great traditional small towns of America once, offers more opportunities for knowing your neighbors and allows for daily interaction among people. It's more than buildings and streets, in other words. It's a pattern. And this pattern lends itself to casual get-togethers and memorable nights out. This kind of urban design matches the real Sanford, the one people already love, and makes Sanford a town where people want to live and work and have fun. On the corner of Seminole Boulevard and Palmetto Avenue, what we envision is a grand public waterfront esplanade and a distinctive tower. This is an architectural centerpiece for Heritage Park, a landmark for the neighborhood. Alongside the tower and the esplanade is a 5-story residential building. The dwellings there will have views of Lake Monroe and the marina next door. Along Palmetto Avenue, we've designed live-work residential units. These would have convertible ground floors to allow for the option of small shops and office uses or expanded home-based businesses. The wide sidewalks, the tree-lined streets, and the bike paths will provide safe circulation whether you're on foot or on bikes, and they'll connect the Sanford RiverWalk trail that follows the shoreline of Lake Monroe. Downtown Sanford's already a pretty wonderful place for biking and walking, and Heritage Park will just continue that great tradition with streets that are welcoming and visually interesting. The brick pavers in the streets and the sidewalk will feel good underfoot, and they'll match the historic streets of downtown Sanford and visually join the waterfront to the downtown. As you approach First Street, Sanford's main hub for shopping and dining, We've designed buildings with storefronts on the ground floor and offices and residences on the floors above. Along historic First Street, we've designed a series of places to eat and lively retail shops that will light up at night. The idea is to bring home to within a convenient few steps of the places you want to go to from home in a walkable urban lifestyle. The goal, you might say, is to add to, but not overwhelm, the charming vibe that already is here in downtown Sanford. For that reason, the public spaces between buildings are meant to be crafted with as much care and attention to detail as the buildings themselves. The streetscape design is about simple, understated elegance in the materials and the geometry. Heritage Park is meant to pull together a kind of easy-to-navigate, good-looking, fun place to walk. A convenient shuttle service from First Street and Palmetto Avenue to the nearby Sunrail station will give the residents access to the greater Orlando area and connect the visitors back to downtown Sanford without relying entirely on cars. The residences along Sanford Avenue will have views of the street scene, the Civic Center, and Mellon Park. And a special building will offer our nearly 500 residents a fitness center, pool, game room, community room, and the like. Connecting Palmetto Avenue and Hood Avenue, we see a tranquil, pedestrian-only street that has 3-story townhouses with private garage parking. In addition, the flats and duplex apartment buildings on Hood Avenue are designed to look like classic townhouses. Loft apartments along the Paseo will share a courtyard that leads to a second-floor, open-air restaurant terrace. This will be a great place to end the day and catch the evening breeze while you overlook Lake Monroe. Drawing from the charm and traditions of historic Sanford, that's our goal. So this will be the catalytic kind of new development that transforms some vacant parts of Sanford's downtown into the lively, walkable community you've seen here. Thanks for watching this preview of Heritage Park, coming soon to Sanford, Florida. Sanford Waterfront Partners and the design team hope you'll stay tuned in and let us know what you think.
By way of a quick summary, what you've seen there, and if we could put at least a little bit back up on the screen, that wouldn't hurt. What you've seen there are 235 residential units, about 45,000 square feet of commercial and office and restaurant type spaces. And someone was online wondering where the parking was. Well, there are 370 cars of parking on the site. It's just that we try to hide most of them from you, which we think is actually a very, very good thing. So with that as a little background to what we're proposing, we'll gladly answer any questions you might have. Yeah, the lady in black first, and then the lady in white in front. The vast majority will be rental units, but there will be units for purchase as well. We're analyzing the strength of the market. We've done a series of market analyses by, in fact, 2 different firms. And so we have to balance that to suit the market and the absorption of what will be successful here in Sanford. Yes, sir. Well, right now we are trying to finalize our negotiations with the city on the development agreement. It is well along the way, and we expect that it will be back for the City Commission and the Planning and Zoning Board in the very, very near future. So with that said, it would probably take us almost a year after that is signed before we can actually be breaking ground. We've got to do construction documents. We have a lot of site-related work that has to be done first, and so all of that, and a set of permits. So we're really expecting that would take us about a year before we start. Through the course of this, we expect that the absorption of the product will occur within 4 years. That's what the experts on our market analysis side are saying to us. So think of it this way. 5 years from now, we should be having dinner overlooking Lake Monroe and enjoying walking through the retail spaces along First Avenue. We're certainly going to try hard, sir. Yes, the lady on the left. Yes, yeah, that's you. These particular sites are completely vacant. Any buildings that were there were modest in nature and have been taken and removed before we came to town. So this is really urban infill at its best, trying very deliberately to be as contextual as we possibly can. So we're not just setting garden apartments down in the middle of a downtown Sanford. We're trying to respect the context and the historic nature of downtown. Yes, sir. Marina Island is not a project of ours. That's a product of others. We're interested in it because our property overlooks it. We're concerned about it, and I think it is something that deserves its own master plan, in my view. But at this point, it is not part of our project. Anyone else? One more. Well, when you have a residential development that is going to ultimately end up housing probably 500 or so new people downtown, you need to provide some levels of amenity spaces. Now, certain buildings will have their own amenity spaces in them, but in addition to that, we're expecting that we will have a swimming pool, we'll have exercise and fitness facilities, we'll have multi-purpose rooms, and community common rooms throughout. We're even looking to the possibility of having some of our buildings with rooftop decks or rooftop gardens. So those are the kind of things that we can expect in that. Vin, you want to say? Oh, there are a few other little. Vinny's reminding me of a few other things that we did leave out. We are trying to incorporate, and we've allocated space for a gourmet market, which we think will be an exciting addition to downtown also, and something that the residents here will absolutely love. We also think that it's important that we have connectivity, not only the bike trails that we were talking about and the bike lanes that we're physically creating out of the site, but connectivity via perhaps a trolley or a bus line. We prefer the trolley approach. From our site to all of the critical, and all of downtown, frankly, to all of the critical employment areas and access to employment. We think that we should end up with connectivity between the downtown and the hospital, downtown and both rail lines, and downtown and the airport, so that folks can conveniently live and work in a downtown environment without having to get in the car and spend hours on I-4. So, yes? Well, first of all, I would disagree completely with your parking counts. We have had parking consultants advise us on the parking count, and we believe that the 370 cars that we're proposing for this site is what this site is going to need. What you're missing is that there are trends in this country that are changing completely. The younger demographic of our nation is not running out like I did to get my first car and to get my driver's license. In fact, most of my young friends now are going, I don't drive, I don't want to drive, and mass transit is the way of the future, and Uber is the way of the future. And so we don't see the sense of building, 2 to 3 parking spaces per apartment, because that's not where the demographic is going in the future. That's maybe my generation, but the world is changing. So we've, I'm sorry. It's not. The proposal is actually to widen the sidewalks. We want people on those sidewalks. We certainly want parallel parking on the streets next to those roads, but we want people out on the street dining on those along the sidewalks, being able to stroll and having room for their bike paths.